Welcome to Nice and Blunt. I'm Adam Riancho, and it's Thursday, week 8. We have a game tonight between the Rams and the Vikings. Who you going to start and who you going to sit? Apologies for the late published time on this video. I had some technical difficulties earlier, but better late than never. Let's get into this video. There are some injury updates to mention where TJ Hockenson has been ruled out. He will not make his debut this season. Guard Dalton Risner of the Vikings, questionable to play. Not quite sure if he comes off IR. Caleb Evans, questionable as well with a hip injury. And linebacker Blake Cashman is out. That might impact their run defense for the Vikings. On the Rams side of the ball, great news regarding Puka Nacua, who is coming off of IR. He will play this week. Offensive tackle Joe Noteboom was full in practice, but not ready to return. He is not going to play tonight. Defensive tackles Neville Gallimore and Braden Fisk are questionable, but were limited in practice, probably do suit up. Linebacker Trey Reeder is out, and so is wide receiver rookie Jordan Whittington of the Rams. Good news, though, getting Puka back. Let's get into this video with all of the must-starts at the top here. I think Kyren Williams is guaranteed in your lineup. He's been fantastic over the last 4 games, averaging 20.9 points per game on over 23 touches, just under 2 catches, but 100 total yards from scrimmage, and most importantly, 7 total touchdowns in this span. He's been a guarantee to find the end zone. So he's definitely a player you're starting. You cannot bench him at RB3. He's a lock in your lineup. The matchup against the Vikings is decent. Justin Jefferson, also a player locked into your lineup. He's my wide receiver number 4 for me this week, and he will go off. He's averaging 16.2 points per game. His last 4 games, less than 10 targets, less than 90 yards per game. He has kind of complained he'd like to see that go up, but with 3 touchdowns, he's pretty safe every single week, and he probably finds another touchdown this game. So no one's benching Jefferson. He's a lock in your lineup, but yesterday I actually did rank Cooper Kupp above him. I dropped down Cooper Kupp 2 spots. He's now my wide receiver 6, still a lock in your lineup, but won't see as many targets as he probably would have without Puka Nacua on the field. So the touchdown odds decrease slightly, but he still, I think, will dominate. I think he goes over 100 yards. I think with the trade rumors recently, they showcase him, not for that trade, but just to remind everyone, we still love Cooper Kupp. He's still elite, and he's still our go-to guy. Kupp will play excellent tonight, even with Puka on the field. He's a top 6 wide receiver, an elite option in week 8. I'm also starting Aaron Jones with confidence. He's earned your trust, been fantastic this season, an average of 114 scrimmage yards per game the last 4. He's been lights out on the ground. Even at age 29, he is not slowing down. 3.3 catches, 2 touchdowns in this sample size, an average of 16 points per game is fantastic. So this matchup might keep him out of the end zone. It is possible, but usually he's good for at least 11 plus points. That's been his floor regardless of touchdown the last 4 games. So definitely starting Aaron Jones at RB18. He's definitely in your lineup. And I also think you're still starting the Vikings defense. The Rams offense, especially getting healthy, is kind of scary. They could drop 35 points any given week, but the Vikings have caught 11 interceptions this season, 3 fumble recoveries, as well as 24 total sacks in 6 games. They are playing excellent and one of the top 5 defenses this season. Depending on your scoring, they might be number 1. So Vikings, excellent at the moment. Definitely starting them. Kind of a downgrade against the Rams, but I still think you're starting them. I wouldn't drop them just to pick up a streaming defense this week. So they're number 10 for me. I would start them this week, but there are some interesting flex decisions. For instance, Puka Nacua, are you starting him or not? I think depending on your depth, you probably are. He's a legit flex play for me at wide receiver 33. I don't expect a full bevy of snaps for Puka in this game. I think he will be capped at like 75%, maybe less. And while I am just assuming, I do think he'll be a bit more of a decoy to take some attention away from Cooper Kupp. I don't expect this to be his best game of the year. In his first game back off of only limited practices, he hasn't played since week 1. And if he was full in practice, I'd probably trust him more. But tonight, I only think he's wide receiver 33. Just a legit flex, but not a guaranteed start. Depending on your depth, you might have better options. I also think Jordan Addison is in the exact same tier as Puka tonight. Another wide receiver 2 that you're a little skeptical goes over 6 targets. He's only been averaging 3 catches over the last 4 games, but turning it into 45 yards per game with 2 touchdowns. He is volatile, does have some upside. Last week, he caught a 50-plus yarder, which did not turn into a touchdown, but he's usually pretty good. He does offer some appeal. I get it if you don't want to do it. He could burn you. There is risk because the volume is not great, but both him and Puka are just 1 touchdown away from 14-plus points. But at number 35, odds are you probably at least are considering him as a flex. He's not a terrible option. I wouldn't automatically bench him, depending on who else I have. The quarterback, though, for the Vikings is in the super flex conversation. He's not a must start at quarterback 16. I wouldn't start him in a 12-team, 1-quarterback league. But if it's a deeper format, if you do start 2 quarterbacks in your league, I would consider Darnold. From the floor standpoint, he's been pretty good this season. In 6 games, he's averaging 16.5. He's the quarterback 15 in points per game. The yardage isn't insane, only 222 per game, but with 11 touchdowns, only 6 turnovers in 6 games, he's usually safe for multiple scores. So that really helps him a lot. The touchdowns are critical. I worry about it a little bit this week, though. Off a short week, the Detroit Lions on Sunday, they have to travel. It's not ideal, but he has such good weapons. Odds are you're still trusting him. If he's your backup or QB2, I do think he's a top 16 play this week. Most of you are benching him, though. I'm also probably benching the Rams defense. They're kind of appealing. I do think on a short week, there is some upside for them to shut down their opponent. It's probably a more low-scoring game, but they haven't been great this season, only averaging about 6 points per game. That's nothing special. So they're not the same caliber as the Vikings, but I think this game will be close, and the Vikings are a borderline must start. The Rams at number 15, you could do worse, but you're probably leaving them on the waiver wire. I'm also probably leaving Matthew Stafford on the waiver wire. He does offer more upside with both receivers healthy. He is actually averaging 248 passing yards per game this season with them missing a lot of time. That's kind of impressive, but only 3 touchdowns in 6 games to 6 turnovers. He does not score many touchdowns. He's not usually safe for multiple passing scores. So I do worry about that tonight. I think he only throws for 1, but this is a great matchup. The Vikings defense, very leaky in the secondary, giving up an average of 308 passing yards per game over the last 5. So I think he will throw for like 275, maybe 300 plus, but only with 1 touchdown probably. That's where I think you get burned. If he throws a pick as well, that you're not going to be happy about that. So Stafford, just a floor play. He's been brutal this season, not even a top 30 quarterback in points per game, only 9.2 points per game from him on average. So I'll wait and see. I want Puka fully healthy before I expect the ceiling to hit for Stafford. But at quarterback 23, you could do worse. He's not the worst option overall. Otherwise, though, I'm benching everyone else in this game. Colby Parkinson, I didn't even have ranked, not inside my top 25. I did not rank any of the other Rams wide receivers. While Whittington is out with Puka healthy, you can't trust Atwell, Demarcus Robinson, or Tyler Johnson. They do not crack my top 60 with Puka active tonight. I'm also not starting either of the backup running backs. Ty Chandler is my running back 51, but he's been kind of bad this season. I'll pass on him. And Blake Corum has been pretty irrelevant. I'm not ready to rank him either. So not relevant plays, definitely benching them. And then the backup receiving options for the Vikings, I will keep on the waiver wire as well. I did not rank Jalen Nailor, nor Johnny Mundt, or Josh Oliver. I don't think you can trust them. The matchup is good for the Vikings tight ends, actually. It ranks top 2, but I don't trust either of them in terms of volume. If I was picking one, it'd be Mundt, but he doesn't rank top 25. I will pass on him. So these are my start-sit decisions for tonight's game. I'm definitely starting these 5 players. Kyren is a top 3 running back. Kupp and Jefferson are top 6 at receiver. And Aaron Jones, a top 20 running back, a must-start this week. The Vikings, I do have top 10. There are some flex decisions, though, players on the bubble. I think in a super flex format, I would start Darnold as a top 20 number 2 option. I would also consider Puka Nacua as a top 35 wide receiver, as well as Jordan Addison. I prefer Puka straight up, but he's still a little risky tonight. I don't think you have to start him outside the top 30 it is a close call. But I do project at least 8 or 9, maybe 10 points for both of them. If the touchdown hits, you'll be very happy. Otherwise, I'm benching everyone else. Matthew Stafford is not inside my top 20. The Rams are interesting at number 15, but not interesting enough. I'm benching Parkinson, Atwell, Robinson, and Tyler Johnson, as well as Blake Corum, Ty Chandler, Jalen Nailor, Johnny Mundt, and Josh Oliver. They are not in my lineup tonight. Here is my final score prediction, though. I do think the Rams will pull the upset. I know most of you are picking the Vikings. They have been the better team this season, but the Rams are desperate. Their back is against the wall. If they lose this game, if they're 2-5, their season might be over. You can't say that about the Vikings if they fall to 5-2. So while they'd love to get the win, they're just not as desperate. Coming off the loss to Detroit, I think they're going to be very sore, very banged up. The short window for rest is not ideal. I think Puka and Kupp are good to go, and that's going to be a big difference. The Rams move the ball, and I think convert touchdowns. The Vikings move the ball, and I think settle for field goals. So that is what I think happens. The Rams will win. Going to be very close, but 24-23, I will give Sean McVay the edge as the better coach. But it's probably going to be a tight one. The line is very sharp. The Vikings are favored by 2.5. I think they lose, so give me the Rams plus 2.5. But the over-under is exactly where I think it should be, 47.5. I will take the under. I think there's less than 47 on the scoreboard tonight. So Rams win, definitely a bold call by me. You guys are overwhelmingly picking Minnesota according to the polls, but I think it's an upset tonight. Give me the Rams to win. I also give you 5 picks on the over-under bets on Underdog, and here they are tonight. If you want to join me, use code Nice and Blunt, get your first deposit matched by 50%, but here is the bet. We have $3 down, a very low buy-in, with a 60+ times payout. We would get 186 and 78 cents returned if all 5 of these hit. There is a 50% profit boost token, so that does factor in, but massive payout, 186 on only $3 down. So here is the bet. I think Cooper Kupp goes off tonight. Great matchup against the Vikings. They give up over 200 yards per game to opposing wide receivers. Kupp will be their best option. He's going over 100. That one, I think, is a smash. The line was originally like 65. I bumped it up as a scorcher to 99.5. I think this is like a 2 times X my payout. I don't think Darnold is going to play that great this season, and he's only averaging 222 passing yards per game. So I hit the under on 249. I think he throws for less than 250 for sure, and Darnold will keep it closer to 225. Stafford, though, has been averaging 248 this season without the receivers, and the matchup is excellent. The Vikings give up over 308 passing yards per game in their last 5. So Stafford will be lights out. He might not score some touchdowns, but I think he does throw for a lot of yards. Give me the over on Stafford, 250 passing yards. I think he will crush that easily. Kyren Williams, I think, also crushes this line of 100 scrimmage yards. I would worry about it if it was just rushing, but in the passing game, he will get involved and will go over 100. That's what he's been averaging the last 4 games. So I like that for Kyren, and I worry about the volume for Addison. I think he only gets about 5 targets, 3 catches. That's what he's averaging, and I hit the under on 3.5 catches. He might turn one of them into a 60-yard reception, but I only think he gets 3 total. I do not trust Addison in terms of volume. So those are the 5 picks. Cooper Kupp, over 100 yards. Kyren Williams, over 100 yards. Stafford, less than 249 yards. Stafford, over 250. Jordan Addison, less than 4 catches. That is the bet. $3 would turn into 186. Wish me luck. I will need it. But that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more content, and apologies on the late publish time. I recorded this and the mic was unplugged, so that was a bummer. And if you're watching after the game, let me know how these picks worked out. I hope I'm $186 richer when you watch this video. That's going to be it for me. My name's Adam Riancho. Thank you for watching. Nice and blunt.